Thank you. Welcome back to the March 28th, 2023 meeting of the Hauppauge Union Free School District Board of Education. We're back from executive session. Kindly rise, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4 on the agenda is the superintendent's update. Dr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Barchet. Welcome, everybody. I do have a few updates about some of our students throughout the district. First off, high school principal Joe Whitecross recently announced those students who qualified for quarterly academic honors. Just proud to share that number of students who achieved honor roll at the high school, 258. Number of students who achieved high honor roll, 273. And the number of students who achieved principal's honor roll was 106. So kudos to all of those high-performing students at the high school. Recently, the high school and elementary schools held Pi Day fundraisers during the week of March 13th. You may have seen some of these stories and photos in Horizons. High School Math Honor Society ran the fundraiser there, and the money was donated to the Defeat DIPG Foundation in memory of Callie Montera, who's the daughter of high school guidance counselor Danielle Montera, who we lost tragically to DIPG. They raised $800. And then at Pines and Bretton Woods and Forest Brook, again with Pi Day, we had these getting hit in the face with a pie fundraisers. I participated in a couple of these, and they were legit pies, just for the record. They at the 3 elementary schools, they raised for the Rachel Quinn Foundation, respectively, $2,200, $2,170, and $722, over $5,000. So just tremendous fundraising throughout the district for 2 great causes. Then on Saturday, March 11th, the middle school science Olympiad team competed at the Eastern Long Island Regional Competition. Our team placed in many of the events that day, so great job by all of our students there. High school students were inducted last week in Rho Kappa, National Social Studies Honor Society, Science, National Honor Society, and World Language Honor Society. And then lastly, just congratulations to high school junior Colin Buscarino. Colin was named the Section 11 Diver of the Year. So great job to Colin Buscarino. My last note is exciting time of year. High school and middle school spring sports have begun, so come out and support our sports teams. Thank you, Mr. Barchet.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. 5B on the agenda is presentations. 5B1 is the 2023-2024 school budget by Bridget Sienna, our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations.
Good evening. So my co-host here, Dr. Murphy, will join and speak about the curriculum portion. So we will get started. Can anyone name what that instrument is up on the screen? I don't have a prize. Yes.
Oh, okay. There is no prize, just.
No, sorry.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you, Ms. Sienna. So I'm going to get us started here. The first part of this presentation is focused on curriculum and instruction and staffing. So for the upcoming year, we actually have 7 veteran teachers who are retiring. This will lead to 6 replacements. So new hires, we're going through that process shortly. Our department overages, those are extra classes that we at times need teachers to teach. We're actually seeing a decrease next year, year over year, from 5.8 total to 4.2. The combined savings there between the retirements and the department savings allows us to hire in some mandated areas. You'll see that we have 4 new elementary special education teachers joining the ranks. 2 of those will be at Forest Brook for mandatory integrated co-teaching sections, 1 at Bretton Woods, and we'll also be adding a class at Pines Elementary, an 812 class. Special education will also be a required certification for what will be a new English opening at the high school next year. One of our trends is that when we're hiring new teachers, wherever possible, we're looking for not only aptitude in their area of focus, but also in special education, and that really has been a value add to our students. We're also in need of some more reading support, so you'll see that at the high school. Again, we'll look for someone who's duly certified in not only reading but special education, and then increasing needs at Forest Brook. At Forest Brook L, we'll need a new reading teacher there. Lastly, we're coming to the end of a multi-year effort, again supported by the board, of additional math support. So we currently have an individual who is split as a math specialist and STEAM. We're making that person whole as a full-time STEAM person, and we're hiring a math specialist for Forest Brook. The net result of that is a 0.5 and a 0.5 in both areas. So kind of big picture just for a moment, we've been able to say this in each of the last years since I've been in charge, but also before that, that the budget allows for all class sizes and programs to be maintained. This has been a goal of this Board of Ed for many, many years, but just to brag for a moment, our class sizes at the elementary level in particular hover around 20. We're also able to continue our partnership with Northwell Health into next year. That partnership has, it's not hyperbolic to say we've really saved students from some very serious situations. Northwell Health allows us to support the mental health needs of our students. We also are proud to continue and sustain our Effective School Solutions partnership. We have 2 clinicians at the high school, 1 at the middle school. So that has been a success. At the end of last year, we had actually parents who came to a board meeting to rave about that partnership. Our career and technical education program through BOCES continues to thrive. Those are students that go to BOCES to get trained in any number of different areas, from auto shop to animal science to HVAC. So we have north of 70 students who take part in those programs. We also introduced this year supports for students at the high school with our PASS program and our after-school academy. So again, we are laser focused on helping all our students get to graduation. And then our college awareness and post-secondary opportunities continue to be a big focus in the district. We have college trips and college fairs. Over the summer, we have workshops to support our students. And I think I'm most proud to say last year, this board supported in our budget the funding of the fee structure for all students in AP and IB exams. Why that is of significance all by itself is that it's removing a potential barrier to any student to achieve in higher level courses, but that completed a vision of funding all fees for our students across the different examinations you see listed there. I can say with confidence, I do not believe that there's another district on Long Island, and certainly not in New York, who funds all of those exams for kids. So thank you so much to the Board of Ed for supporting that effort. Speaking of college trips, or just the theme of trips, we also have received just tremendous feedback from our students who are able to participate in our international trips, our exchange program, so that will continue into next year. Inside our classrooms, we also are proud to extend our philosophy with integrated co-teaching to the secondary level. You'll see some courses listed there. Why that is significant is not all districts offer that service at the secondary level. So for us, it means, again, that we are providing a gateway for students who may have IEPs or other needs to be on track to strive for an advanced Regents diploma. We also have invested for years in Wilson Reading. This started, I'm going to say, 6 years ago. That has been a focus in our reading and special ed departments. Wilson Reading is a tier 3 reading service, so that continues to be funded in our budget. And then the curriculum committee led by Dr. McCarthy always invites new course offering proposals each year that are focused on meeting the needs of our kids. So you'll see next year we extend our course catalog a bit. We also do some pruning where appropriate to find that right balance so that we have students able to reach our highest level courses and not be overwhelmed by too many, but I think we achieve that balance very nicely from year to year. Looking at just technology and security for a moment, I won't get too much into detail as it comes related to security for obvious reasons, but again, just to brag a bit, we are a district now for a few years who have a device for every single student and every single teacher in our district, one-to-one K-12. For us, that means iPads currently K through 4 with Chromebooks 5 to 12. That's been a gradual progression over time where Chromebooks have become a more useful tool as the Google ecosystem has expanded. So we can see that we'll continue to probably move Chromebooks down into lower grade levels in the years to come. Where appropriate, we've added desktop computers. We'll continue to do that once they reach end of life. Coding, so proud of our coding efforts. We're a district that has a couple of years running won the hackathon at the middle school. So we are looking to prepare our kids for college and careers, and coding is certainly one area where we think there's only a benefit to them understanding programming. So middle school coding labs are getting redone next year. We also we're about 10 boards short of having every single classroom with a state-of-the-art flat panel. AE, the fourth bullet on there, stands for audio enhancement. So imagine every teacher in their classroom has a mic around their neck like you hear me now. That is what audio enhancement is. So the research on this is tremendous. It basically means that every student in the classroom, regardless of where they're sitting, hears the teacher as if they're sitting right next to them. So the board has supported this for years. That's part of our classroom vision. Smart board, audio enhancement unit, surround sound speaker set. That is our classroom technology experience. In terms of security, we continue to have a focus, again, I won't get too much into the weeds, but on physical security, cyber security, data security. That will continue to be just the utmost priority. The board has made it clear that that's one of our board goals. That's can be found on our website. So we continue to invest dollars there where needed, and we'll continue to do so. And then for our youngest students, so happy to see this progression. So we started with UPK. Our partner is Scope. In year one, I believe we had 3 or 4 sections. Year 2 last year, we had 6 sections. The 108 represents the number of students. And we have additional funding from the state next year to offer 9 sections. As of this presentation, that will mean that we'll be able to satisfy all requests that we've received thus far as part of our UPK lottery. It doesn't, it's not without a little logistical maneuvering, so we're so appreciative of our elementary principals who help us to make that work in the elementary schools. But we are going to make this work one way or another, and that's certainly a value add to our Hauppauge parents with little ones at home. With that, I'm going to pass it back to Ms. Sienna for the remainder of the presentation.
Okay, so additional things that go into the budget that you may not necessarily consider, but I consider all the time. So similar to your house at home, there's upgrades, there's maintenance that you need to make, and this is what we spend a lot of the time over the summer doing. So starting with the high school, some asphalt repair, some pipe abatements, some flooring abatements, and it's easier obviously when the students are not in the building to do all this. We're due for water testing throughout the district. Up at the middle school, the front entrance, just making the concrete walkway better. Also the curb cut for handicap, we gotta replace that. We need an oil tank cover, water testing as I said. And then over at the elementary schools, Pines needs a new fence. Every single building will have flooring abatements. Bretton Woods is in need of additional parking spaces, asphalt repair, and water testing for all. Looking at a funding snapshot, so you've seen this slide a couple times now. Sorry about the logo at the bottom being in the way, but I'll go through that in a second. So, of highlight, this is the revenue up at the top. Oh, Dr. Murphy. So up at the top, the tax levy is the biggest source of revenue for every single, or the majority of school districts on Long Island. Here, the percent increase change from the current year of 22-23 to 23-24 will be 2.57%. The next largest source of revenue is state aid. The note at the bottom that I had is explaining that the governor's legislative budget, or the final state budget, should come out around April 1st. That's when it's technically due, but because of COVID in the last couple years, we've seen it as late as the 2nd to 3rd week of April, but hopefully within the next coming days we will know that for sure. Pilots are payments in lieu of taxes. There's no change from 22-23 to 23-24 that we are aware of. We've been in constant communication with Suffolk County, the town of Islip, and the town of Smithtown. Other is tuition that we receive from other school districts, and a slew of other things. Reserves, that's something that we've continued for years here at Hauppauge. And then fund balance is the same application of 3.6 totaling $128,739,896, which is a budget to budget change of 3.89%, which is different from the 2.57 up at the top for your tax levy. So looking at some of the budget drivers, the top three sections total 74%. So 74% of the budget here at Hauppauge is people. We have 5 collective bargaining agreements. All of those agreements come with more every single year, based on salaries, based on benefits, you name it, depending on the language. The teacher retirement system, employee retirement system for all of those, and then health insurance requirements and other benefits, depending on what's in the language in the collective bargaining agreements. Next, utilities, just like your house, oil, gas, electric, water. That's 1% of the budget. Buildings and grounds, their supplies, their building service and repair, so anything that they're doing at all of the buildings throughout the district to upgrade and maintain. That is 1.8 and 1% of the budget. Transportation, we have contracted services, we go on field trips, fuel, you name it, that is 6%. For pupil personnel services, we pay tuition to non-public schools and public schools for our students to attend other places. Contractual services dependent on IEPs or other, and BOCES, that's 6% of the budget. Debt service is anything that's happening true, so for principal interest on bonds, bands, and TANs, that's 3%. Security, contracted services for armed guards, equipment, and a couple other little lines is 1%. Technology has BOCES, a lot of equipment and supplies for 3% of the budget. And then there's the other, so supplies, textbooks, library books, you name it, all include the 5% for that bottom line. And that's how we're equaling the revenue side of the budget for this expenditure side of $128,739,896. So where do we go from here? April 18th is our budget adoption. May 2nd is our budget hearing, and May 16th is the annual budget vote and school election.
Thank you. Any questions from the board concerning the presentation thus far? Dr. Crafa?
Every year, the one thing that really strikes me is that we're left with 1% of our budget to maintain these gigantic buildings. And I don't know if there's an answer to my question, but how do we change that? Because, one thing that struck me a year or two ago when we were having discussions on this building, there was a vote. Someone made the comment that how can we let all these buildings fall into disrepair? Shame on you. So what do we do to change or increase the budget for these buildings?
So,
And do you think the 1% is enough?
that is a very philosophical question, of which I will say that the dollars that you would see in replacing a roof or coating over a roof, large items such as that are very, very expensive, and it's difficult for the general fund budget to handle that. The general fund budget, should be handling salaries, you name it, but on these massive things where it totals $4 to $5 million to replace a roof, we have to look at alternatives. So the capital reserve is a great way that at the end of every fiscal year, you can put money into your reserves and coming up with a plan, then ultimately going to the voters to say, this is the plan to utilize, please, on this date, go out and vote, and then we're able to use those large sums of money.
So every year when you look at salaries, taxes, the TRS, health insurance, other benefits, it's upwards of 70, what did you say?
74.
74%. So every year, Dr. Murphy, we have declining enrollment. But every year it seems like when we have retirements, we replace all those positions and then some. How do we stop that trend? At one point, if we look at this and say the class sizes are low enough, how do we shift some of these funds to really glaring needs? When I walk in and I see some of the bathrooms that are ancient and need repair and things like that, the locker rooms, and instead of relying completely on bonds, right, and more borrowing and more debt, which is up there too, when do we start making this shift?
Yeah, so a couple points there. So in terms of enrollment, you're correct. Enrollment has been declining, although I will say it's leveled off just a little bit. So 2 years ago, we were at 3,200 students, and by next year, we will be at 3,129. So it decreased, but not really statistically significant. The other part of that equation, but to be clear, to your point, I see that continuing in that direction. The other part of that, though, is that the needs of our student continue to change and evolve. So we're seeing an increase in the number of students who are not English as their native language students. So we've seen an increase, for instance, in our number of teachers, or E&L teachers, over the years. The other thing we're seeing is an increase in our students who receive services of different types of services, whether through an IEP or another means. So we are seeing, like, if you look at most of those FTEs are related to support services for students, special ed, reading, etc. And even our efforts at the focus at the elementary school about class sizes, which again the board has made a priority for years. We've been able to sustain that goal, but also reduce as well. So we are reducing a section at the elementary level next year, where 7 retirees is going to 6. That 7th is an elementary section that we don't need to replace. And the last point I'll make is there's a lot to be, there's a tremendous amount to be proud of in those slides, right? So hopefully the board is, feeling some sunlight on yourselves with that pride. But there's also, I think, functionally within our budget, and thanks to smart contracts that all sides agree to and benefit from, there's some predictability from year to year, even in that biggest piece of the pie. Thanks to the efforts of the board over the years. And we have happy employees and so forth, and it allows us to have sound budgets. And at the end of each year, we're filling reserves as well, so we're fiscally sound. We're in good standing.
Further questions from the board concerning the presentation? Questions from the community concerning the presentation? Yes?
Yeah, this week, were we supposed to see the class sizes? Is part of the presentation or not? I know you'd give an estimate of 20 kids in the elementary school. I thought we were supposed to see it. So it's, one of the board members asked last time. Oh, yes.
I don't recall that would be easy for us to produce. In fact, perhaps it's something we can.
The elementary is enrollment.
Yeah, so the elementary, which I alluded to, is about 20.1. The breakdown, we could provide that, but as you can imagine, one grade level in one building is 18.9, and another grade level is 21.2, right? So that average is 20.1. We don't have a breakdown of class size at the secondary level, so you're talking about, Mr. Abruzzo, you're talking about the elementary level.
Elementary.
Yeah, 20.1. We can. I'm not sure.
Can't we just print out the enrollment summary that we have and just throw it on the table?
Yeah, we'll do that now.
We've done it prior.
Yeah, it'll be there before the meeting's over, Mr. Abruzzo. Yeah, please.
No problem. What do we normally do that size?
We have to show them.
Okay, so just print and show. We'll get that.
Thank you. Any further questions from the community concerning the, yes, Mr. Abruzzo?
I have to revisit.
I'm sorry?
I have to revisit this subject. In the past, we've had the breakdown of every section. How many sections per grade, what, by the school, and everything.
You're going to have that on that table in about 3 minutes. And then if you have questions about that, we'll honor those questions anytime during the meeting tonight, even if it's out of order. Any other questions or further questions concerning the budget presentation thus far? Okay, thank you, Ms. Sienna. "5C on the agenda, I'll make a motion to table the adoption of minutes. Mr. Scrito seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0, that is tabled to our next meeting. Number 6, on the agenda, questions and comments on tonight's agenda only. 7 is the consent agenda. Are there any items that members would like to have removed? I will remove 7.2C2. Any others? Mr. Kiley, sorry. On the microphone, please.
7.2A4.
7.2A4. Any others? Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda, less 7.2A4 and 7.2C2. Thank you, Mr. Scrito. Ms. Salvia with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 6-0. 7.2A4 removed by Mr. Kiley. I will make the motion. Mr. Scrito with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0-1. Mr. Kiley abstaining. 7.2C2 removed by me. I'll make a motion to table that to our next meeting. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Scarito. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. 6-0. That is tabled to our next meeting. That concludes the consent agenda. There are no policies on tonight's agenda. Discussion matters. There are none. New business. Do any board members have new business? Yes, Mr. Scarito.
Just want to once again thank all the security guards and the crossing guards, and especially the high school staff. Every morning when I'm dropping my son off, it's amazing how the staff is out there greeting all the students, and I think it's fantastic. And I think they should be commended. Pouring rain, they're out there, and I think Mr. Whitehurst was an avocado one day. Haven't figured out why, but he was an avocado. There are two things, Mr. Barchet, I just want to ask. We're talking about the budget meeting. Are we going to have, for the homecoming games this year, or this coming year, as they say, honoring the heroes game again? That was question number 1. And then question number 2, as a parent, you get a lot of parent square stuff of, go to this place to buy a meal. But I think we should start putting flyers more on the website itself, because sometimes I can't open that parent square. I think we're missing a lot of people by not putting it on the website.
Okay.
The umbrellas right now for the Hauppauge booster for the football. I just think we should get a bigger audience.
All right, so we'll have a chat about that, Mr. Scrito. Thank you for that recommendation. In terms of our heroes, so I'm proud to share, I think the board already knows this, I'd established a Hometown Heroes Committee, where that's where the idea of the Forest Brook Parade at the end of last year, which I believe you attended, where we honored policemen and firefighters and first responders. So there's only going to be more partnerships as time goes on, and certainly that the weather wasn't great at last homecoming, but the momentum was there. We had such a great turnout that you will see only more of that going forward. Remember, we had special uniforms as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do any board members, other board members have new business? Does administration have new business?
No, thank you.
Questions and comments from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? Yes, Ms. Batista.
Okay,
Giselle, do you mind going up to the mic so that the people at home can hear you?
sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
All right, right here, you see Lincoln Boulevard. These are people from Lincoln Boulevard. Okay, tomorrow, okay, there was supposed to be a planning meeting with the town of Islip to change the zoning up on Lincoln Boulevard. But Sweetwater Estates adjourned it, okay, for their portion to take themselves out of the agenda. but they're probably going to reschedule for April 26th, okay? Now, if they change the zoning on the Lincoln Boulevard, they plan on changing the zoning to a C, okay, and relax the parking. They plan on putting a assisted living, 78 units. They won't say how many beds would be for the lockdown portion of the unit, okay? They're very vague to all of us when we went to the diner to meet up with them, okay? Now, also at the same time, they're planning an entrance and an exit on Lincoln Boulevard itself, an entrance and an exit on Veterans Highway. This monstrosity is supposed to be 3 stories high, okay? Now, there's 3 problems, okay? First problem is that 365 Lincoln Boulevard, as any of you guys on the board heard of Roberto Clemente Park?
Yes.
Okay, all that crap that was dumped in the park is dumped behind 365 Lincoln Boulevard and was never cleaned up. So they plan on unearthing this without cleaning it up, okay? That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, should they relax the zoning, which means that any excess in their parking lots will be overflowed onto Lincoln Boulevard. So they'll be able to park on Lincoln Boulevard where there is no shoulder, which is insane, because now you're gonna have the buses, okay? There's 3 schools. There's the middle school, the high school, and Bretton Woods, right off of Atlantic, okay? So any vehicle, even if it's a vehicle dropping off at somebody's house, like an Amazon truck or UPS truck, okay? Even if it's pulled to the curb, okay, you have to go over the double yellow line into oncoming traffic, okay? You can't see anybody coming up the damn hill. It's all hills, okay? So if they're like, almost at the top of the hill, okay, you have to go around the car. You can't see another vehicle coming up the hill at you. So you would be head on with another vehicle, which means that if this is happening, okay, during when school lets out, and because this is a facility that will be operating 24/7, okay, that means that the school buses would have to maneuver into oncoming traffic over a double yellow line if the zoning is not stopped, okay, to be changed over to C, okay. Also, then you have the third part of the problem, okay. I pulled the FOIA, okay, for the arbors, okay, at the South Service Road and Vets Highway, which is in Islandia. That is a quarter of the size of what they're proposing to build at the corner of Lincoln and Vets Highway, okay? Only a quarter of the size. So the FOIA that I pulled was from the Suffolk County Police Department, okay? And what I did was I went through 3 years prior to COVID. So average, every time an ambulance is called, the police have to go with them, okay, to a call. So it averages out between 160 to 230 calls per year, just at the arbors, and it's a quarter of the size of what they're trying to build on Lincoln Boulevard. So now imagine cars parked in the street, people going over the double yellow lines to avoid, to get around these parked cars, okay? Ambulances racing down the street at all hours, okay? School letting out, the school buses, okay? Oh, wait, I forgot about the Allstate people in the glass building, hundreds of employees there, releasing in the morning, going to work in the morning and releasing in the evening. So now, if the school board does not get involved in this, the zoning will be changed, and this is going to be a problem for the school district itself, as well as the people on Lincoln Boulevard. And we're all here, okay, from the people from Lincoln Boulevard to speak out about this, and we're asking for the board to help us go to the planning meeting to kill this.
Yeah, so let me just interrupt you quickly. Is anyone, people that are here to discuss or to make comment concerning this project, is anyone here to speak in favor of it, or is there an opposite viewpoint here tonight? Okay, so Giselle, what we've done in the past, and I'm sure you know, and if you don't, I'll tell you, I mean, we've been active and proactive and reactive on all of these issues as far as zoning and planning, and we've taken positions and stances on these projects, at least over the last 12 years that I've been here. So with that, we listen to our community. We value their opinions. I'm assuming that the opinion here is that this is bad for the school district, not only the residents, but the school district as well. With that, I'd like to propose that the board authorize our attorneys, as we've done in the past, to jump into this fray and give us an opinion, a rundown of what's going on, what we can do, good, bad, or indifferent, for the district without delay. Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion?
Got the landscapers.
Yeah, so just if I can, I'm assuming everything, for our purposes here tonight, I'm assuming everything related to the project is bad. So you don't have to go one by one. That's the attorney's job. That's why he's paid the big bucks. But go ahead.
All I was going to say is, you've obviously done your homework and you came well prepared. Did you happen to foil a State Environmental Quality Review Act environmental impact statement? Because that is a document that we've utilized in the past. We don't have automatic standing, nor do we have primary jurisdiction, the town. However, as part of an environmental impact statement, if the town required it, they would have to outline the impact on educational facilities, traffic, safety, etc. So if you want to give us a head start, if you happen to have that document, otherwise we'll start with a FOIL of the town to obtain that and then discuss it with the board and the superintendent.
Well, you could foil it because the lawyer and the owner of the property lied to us on multiple occasions when we had the meeting with them. They turned around and they said their impact statement, okay, they're saying that it would only decrease by 50 cars. That's exactly what they told us at the meeting, which is impossible, okay, considering the size of the facility that they're trying to build. Okay, so they weren't being honest with us. They said that they had it, but they submitted it to the town so that you would have to get that from the
All right,
town.
I'll foil it. All I'm saying is in that, a professional, a traffic engineer, other professionals would have to put in statements that we could analyze and then comment upon intelligently. So I'll foil it. Don't worry. I just thought it seemed like you were very well prepared and you might have it.
I have the FOIA for the Suffolk County Police Department. Okay, I also have a.
Giselle, do you have copies of all of that?
I have it.
Can you just
You can
hand
make a
that?
copy.
We'll make a copy, or if you make a copy, we'll get it to Mr. Varnosky's firm. To the extent you gave us a head start, that's great.
Exactly.
But we're on it, and we'll report back by the next meeting.
Chief,
Mr.
quick
Clerk, right
question.
here.
Do we have time to do this? You said the vote was supposed to be
No,
now it's in a month.
I don't think it's a vote, it's just a hearing, right?
Just a hearing. Because how long does it take to get a FOIL?
Well,
I mean,
as you know, municipality is supposed to respond within 5 business days and provide the documents within 20 days unless there's a reason,
We have a month before the public, you said 4/26, right?
Well, we'll know on the 10th if they reschedule it, they'll put it back on the schedule
Okay.
for April 26th.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So did we take a vote on that? I don't, all those in favor? All right, 6-0. The board's attorney is engaged to look into this for us.
They may have it on their website too. They're required under SEQA to post environmental impact statements. I'll check that tomorrow.
Giselle, if it's okay, we'll make a copy of the whole thing.
And Dr. Murphy, you should have a letter, I'm Denise Sanders today, you should have a letter from me that
Yep,
will detail a lot of stuff.
We got it.
Thank you.
Nice to put a face to it.
Thank you.
So that they. So this is the.
All right, any further questions or comments from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? Mr. Abruzzo, do you have your list there? Did they give it to you? You have any questions for us about it?
Too many, no, that's not.
No, if you do, you need a couple of minutes to look at it?
No, I don't wanna hold up.
I'm happy to stay after.
No, just quickly, that do we know because of sections, I'm seeing maxes, we made maxes to be a certain number. And now that we're, like you said, it brings up a strict point is that we're getting closer to 20, under 20 per class. That might be something that we revisit. I know you wanna keep the class as well, but like he was mentioning that, we have to fix the building that they're in too. We can't do that then.
Yes.
We gotta get the money from somewhere, so.
Yeah, listen, there's going to be tough decisions all around. Keeping the class sizes small has been a priority, but we're not going to let the roof fall apart while doing that. You know, it's going to be tough decisions over the years. But a priority of this board has been to keep the class sizes small, and that's going to continue to be a priority, but not at the expense of other items. Any further questions or comments concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? Yes, sir.
Just my own, OTB,
Yes.
and they control what I read the paper, how much actually do they contribute?
OTB, we're talking about at Jake's? Yeah. Is it anything?
They receive an exemption because
State property?
of the property type that they are, but whatever they do kick in, it's limited and it's just a part of the general tax base.
We had taken a position against it when they had proposed it, and
What they tout to do.
yeah, well, that's why we were against it originally. Any further questions or comments concerning
I just
any?
have one thing to say.
Sure.
My son was killed on Lincoln Boulevard,
I'm very sorry to hear that.
okay?
Yes.
Killed on Lincoln Boulevard. So if you have any at all thoughts about even the kids, you better think again.
That's all of our thoughts are about the kids. So, you know, we take these issues very, very seriously. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I thought you did.
Yeah, we do. And we've taken positions in the past. We've lost some and we've won some, but we've always advocated for the kids.
I lost a lot. I'm gonna live even more if this goes through.
Understood. I appreciate your
I am
words.
sick. I wake up in the morning and I'm crying. I'm nauseous. This is gonna change my life. I'm in my house 53 years. And I just cannot see this happening.
We're taking it seriously and I appreciate what you said. Yes.
One thing on top. My experiences with companies that hire to do these traffic studies. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Until you hire your own
Yes.
to actually conflict what they say, because I can't tell you, I mean, oh no, it's not that bad, it's this. They'll keep going until they find someone who comes up with something.
It's not that hard to find two opinions when you're paying money.
So unless the town of Iceland, like, somebody gets involved,
Yeah,
let us do our own, and if there's a conflict, then
absolutely, sir. Anything else concerning the district? Anything related to the district whatsoever? Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. We have an executive session. Do you have the list there? To seek legal advice from the board's attorney. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Kiley and Mr. Buscarino, for the second executive session. Will begin in exactly 4 minutes. Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. 6-0. Thank you very much, and God bless America, and God bless Hauppauge. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.